So, here we go. It's Nomad finally. Here we have it. Okay guys, here we go. This is a live set of my Nomad only tournament final. We have Kurgan versus Jabari here. Exclamation mark rank and the player's nickname if you want to know their current deal. Hey Nick, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. So the first game, always Nomad, the standard one with water and land, and you start with, villagers spread out in, ouch, in the middle of nowhere. And immediately I see a bit of a rough start here for our Turks friend, Turks player Jabari here. TC literally in the middle of nowhere here, not near any woodline, even past the woodline here with the villager, and decides to drop the woodline on a hill near stones and gold here. Now, okay, of course, Turks, you need gold. That's a given. You mine gold faster. I'm sure there's some reasoning behind it, but the wood access here is just absolutely horrid. Then again, as we can tell from the wood count, Jabari did not dock, which is peculiar to me on Nomad, given the free food resources that exist on water. But yeah, let's see what play is here. They also have restarts before minute 4 if they need them. So we have hunt, we have gold, we have stone, we have the option for, in my opinion, on Nomad starts you always want your TC near woodland. You see, this is maybe 5 seconds more of villager walking time to the to find the woodland, right? And that's absolutely worth it for the consistent wood income. So there's two things about Nomad that's just imperative. One is dropping a dock, like Kurgan has done. Where was it? I saw the dock somewhere. There it is. You could take the shorefish with the docking villager. That's some food income for you, and then the deep fish later on as you start producing. So dropping the TC without a woodland, that's just going to set your start back a lot, because since your opponent now will be starting to producing fishing ships, he'll be having extra sort of villagers to bring in food. It essentially means that when you have your TC near a woodline to begin with, you have consistent wood access with the minimum of walking time. And with your fishing ships, you can transition that into a food source that doesn't take up villager time. Your dock is like your second TC in Dark Age. on maps with water overall. So very unconventional start here with Jabari, but let's see what the plan is. He's already taking gold as well, so I'm almost speculating that he's thinking about some kind of infantry men at arms play here, which is will need the exclamation mark rank and then then the player's nickname. There we go. It's weird. See here the villager count is already extending a little bit for Kurgan here. Also very extensive scouting with sheep, which is a common thing to do on Nomad to get a grasp of the resources. Didn't work. Darn it. Yeah, let me just find that and update it. It's useful to have it. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Oh, and it's 1209 or 1290. I'll put it up anyway. Let's elo. Yeah, so that's it. I'll take my time to check that early on. Yeah, as you can see, Kurgan, as opposed to Jabari, has the wood line right next to his town center. He's found some hunt and some food around as well. Even has the wood gold right next to TC as well. This is a much better starting spot than what Jabari has here. And we see Jabari already falling 2 villagers behind. Did dock, finally, so that's good. It's a delayed dock, but the dock is up. But given the Nomad start, you'd always, aside from if you start as Huns with minus wood or Chinese, you'd have enough wood for both a dock to begin it and your town center, and a house usually. So let's go to play on Nomad. But the food sources seem decent here for Jabari though. Does have 17 villagers now, whereas Kurgan has 17 as well, but 21 population total with those fishing ships as well. Kurgan doesn't want to take any chances here, is walling off a little bit around his area as well. Now, with all this scouting to the north here for Kurgan, that's suggesting that there's a good chance your opponent is south of you. That's why he's walling off to try and limit any early aggression, especially if you wall off like this near TC. It's going to be awkward for your opponent to, for example, put towers to threaten your economy here, because you know they're most likely below you. I don't know if any scouting intel suggests that Jabari is here. Still scouting with sheep, so I don't think Kurgan knows where Jabari is. And this has to be a spec bug, so disregard that. I am amazed at Jabari's uptime here though. Pretty similar populations, even though later to the dock. And only 11% behind. I'm not quite understanding the gold investment though, but I'm guessing Jabari wants to go straight into archers here. And or the water fighting alternatively could of course be. That's why they're taking gold as well. So Kurgan, scouting ship, found the woodline over here. Means that Jabari has to be around here somewhere, right? Here comes the barracks for Kurgan. I think with slabs you'd Justify scouts early on. Yes, it is random civs for the first two games. It's could show the rules here as well. It's been altered a little bit since the final is a best of 5, but the first two games will still be random civ for the first game. And then for game 2 they reverse those civs, but the losing player gets to pick their home map among the map pool here. Village is in for both players, and Jabari with some preemptive walls here on the wood, and I like that. You know, we're up against slabs, a civ with a strong food eco. You might risk scouts running into your economy. Of course, if Jabari brings out the scout and sees this happening, then you could easily adapt with this kind of goal access to go into archers instead, or even towers here to deny this whole woodline. I see both players going for the fire galleys here. Dock down here as well for Jabari, so Jabari is with 2 docks, so is Kurgan. So we're going to see some fire water fighting here, and let's see if their scouting on water is on point here. Just a spearman scouting. And why not? It's rather quick. You'd argue that you'd need spears against Turks anyway, because their scouts, after the recent buff, are much more likely to be used as a viable option. A little bit of a run in here, that's my idle time for Jabari. And both players have Loom, so you don't easily pick off enemy units with spearmen only. Now let's look a bit at the scouting here. Fire Galley from Jabari moving north, whereas Kurgan's Fire Galley was moving the other way around, so takes the long route around here. Whoa! Thanks for the sub, Akkal-AOE. Appreciate it. So we have some water fighting going on here now with the fire galleys. 3 docks now for Kurgan. Now it's still only 2 for the Turks player here. And Kurgan is about to find the fish eco of Jabari on this side. So the sub alert there, that's my own recording on my instrument of the main team, which is also played on the horn in the in-game music. So I had some fun playing around with some of my alerts. Yep. Let's see. Population's pretty similar between the players here, and seems to be water domination in numbers now for Kurgan. But what's going on land though? We have the scouts. And yeah, I like to play scouts on Nomad myself. The mobility is just fantastic, lets you give a good grasp of the map, and if your scouts turn out to be useless against the enemy's areas, you could still use the scouts to gain intel on the map. Here's a spear at the ready for Jabari though. I just note the production, triple dock production for Kurgan here, whereas Jabari is only with 2. And yeah, a little bit of a lapse of attention here, loses 2 scouts, 2 spearmen down here. So good defense from Jabari, who is now unfortunately falling behind in villager numbers after maybe having maybe having lost a couple of fishing ships over here, and yeah, generally falling behind on water here. Losing the fish eco is going to take its toll on Jabari's food eco overall as well. It says 10 on food here, but see, I only see 4 fish right now. It's some berries bringing in food. I mean, Jabari is dropping the market now as well. Could be to adjust the wood eco here a little bit, but I think it also is a means to get to the next stage here, as one of the buildings you'll need. The stable is up as well, stable market. But the food count taking a serious hit on water means that the cast stage will be a bit more awkward to get to. Both players going scouts actually. I should have expected that from Turks maybe. But good walling from Kurgan here, keeping the the aggression at the minimum here, making a choke point for the spearmen as well to stop this scout's aggression from entering easily and dealing damage. So we hear constant attack noises. That's on water as well. Almost a bit hard to follow everything. Fire galleys on either side here. Kurgan fence off at home. And the overall military count, ships count 8 to 2 for Kurgan here. So I think Kurgan has a good control over water for the time being. Even uses a spearman here to chase the villager woman that has been weakened by the fire galley. I believe that was the docking woman who was fishing down here that took a hit now. Jabari completely idle, but very close to that cast age kick now. Is actually not mining gold at all, but there's some market adjustment, and here we go with the cast age. And rate on stone. And guess what? Going on stone like this would probably suggest a castle drop over here, because now Jabari knows Kurgan's location. And so castle here, for example, or even on the woodland might be even better. Sneak it around in the back here if you can. However, Kurgan does have some military on land as well. So let's have a look here. Yeah, 3 infantry. So Kurgan has a few infantry to deny a potential castle drop. But then again, you could quick wall in your villagers, and you don't stop it with any other means than with a tower or some other ranged option. Both players up to the castle age. However, Kurgan not mining stone at all. Going to stone right now. So a defensive castle will probably not be an option for Kurgan here. Spearmen were spearmen here. They take some hits off each other. For the rank command, you'll need to use exclamation mark rank and the player's nickname, but they're also in parentheses up here. I just searched the map, so that's their current 1v1 rating. Now I think Kurgan is doing good here on water. He has the numbers, but what's a little bit what you could do here, of course you want the docks out, you want to make sure your opponent doesn't have an easy way back on water, but just task 1 or 2 of these fire galleys to take out the fish as well, because for each fishing ship going down, it's going to be 75 wood lost for Jabari here, and that's there we go, there is being addressed. Kurgan with water domination now, also just slightly behind the castle age, but as suspected, here comes the castle drop from Jabari. So Kurgan will need to flee his home base now. I think he'll just drop another few new TCs outside. Should Green try and win back water or just commit to land now? I think what would have been an option if Green wanted to fight for water. You could drop the castle on the shoreline instead and drop some docks and get back into it. But I mean, with Kurgan's current numbers on water, you don't want to try and contest that now because you need your docks and you need your numbers. You'd rather just extend your economy on land. Just make sure you have food income on land as well for Jabari here. And there's still some wood in the bank, so just commit to the farms now, maybe a new TC, start booming on land, and then you could try and get water again later, because that free fish boom can be quite huge. It's so lots of extra food. But right now, with that kind of numbers on water, you don't want to try and contest it at this time, I think. Also for Turks, I think you really want the map control on land, because you're so dependent on gold for your ability to harm and counter the enemy. I mean, you only get spearmen, right? So you don't have pikes or halberdiers to counter Slavs cavalry here. You have to depend on your camels as Turks. And here comes the second stable for Kurgan as well. Losing the home TC, of course, but reacted rather quickly. Didn't want to try and contest the castle going up or anything. Just relocating and get new TCs up. Jabari falling well behind the Wills, yes. Now there's 2 TCs producing for Kurgan, only 1 for Jabari. And Jabari also lost all of the fish. And fisher ships show up as villagers in the stats. So there's an undeniable economy lead here for Kurgan, and especially the food, I'd say. Because Slab's farms, they work faster, granted. Quite a few of his farms have been idled now, but then there's the fish eco as well to bring in food efficiently on water. Something that cannot be raided and contested easily by Jabari at this stage. And yeah, we see Jabari's eco struggling here, both from losing the fish, losing the food eco. Another TC is up and some more farms are up as well, so that's going to even out that food eco. But Janissaries cost food and gold. Knights, camels, night kelp cost food and gold. You really need to get your food count up and running ASAP here. Looks like Jabari is gonna mine a little bit more stone, and with the current wood count, could drop yet another TC and maybe start contesting land control a bit more. I mean, to be fair about Jabari's position here, it's actually got a good chance to expand to the side here to this gold, to the left hand side to golds and stones here. The whole south of the map, aside from the shoreline, is still within Jabari's grasp here. But you need a couple more TCs now to contest the fact that Kurgan is on water, fish booming, and also that stabs have a better farming economy. But the knights are out now from the stabs player, and it doesn't look too pretty for Jabari here, down to roughly half the villagers of Kurgan here. Woodland very exposed. One spearman could... Well, it's buying time for the villagers to run back to the TC, so I think that was a decent one right there. It's 3 TCs for Kurgan now. No, actually lost the initial one, so never mind. 2 TCs. And some very long distance farmers here. We have something inside the siege workshop for Kurgan here. I think he's thinking about ramming down this castle. So that could be an issue. There's only 4 military for Jabari here. Jabari does have the stable though, so could get some light cav or something out to deal with enemy siege. Village count now 72 to 41 for Kurgan here. Not investing into water anymore. No more water army, no more fish. But knows, of course, by now Kurgan that the water control is in his hands. So I'm liking Kurgan's expansion here. The issue would still be that he's expanding to the north, which is kind of narrow. So if Jabbar is somehow able to stabilize, Kurgan risks losing a lot of map control, given the narrow points to the sides here between the woodlands. But with an eco lead like this, we could look at the economy as well. Kurgan should most likely be the first one to the Imperial Age, and then could start getting some real power punch with his units to finish off the enemy here. Jabari idling completely right now, that's never a good sign, and tries for repairs here, but what he will need is some way to deal with the rams here, and I don't see any light cavalry army in the making here. It's looking tough for Jabari right now. This castle will go down, and then it's free territory for open season for Kerrigan's mounted units to run around and clean up the enemy here. Yep, that would be it. That's the GG for the first game. And it's Kurgan taking this one. He is actually, in terms of elo, slightly lower than Jabari, but all in all, they shouldn't be that outmatched. I think Jabari's main issue here comes down to the starting TC not being on a woodline, sets you back immediately, and also the dock going up way too late on this side for Jabari. So on Nomad or maps with fish in general, you just want to get to that fishing as early as possible to have a healthier food economy going into the next stages. Pretty equal military score actually, after all. But the largest army for Kurgan, I think 8 to 10 of those were ships on water, and then 33 to 31 KD, 35. Looks a lot more even than it actually was in the end here. But the eco, of course, Slavs, fantastic farms, they work faster, and then they had the fish eco to back it as well. Is with 4,000 more food. Even uptimes are pretty similar here, and that I think is an accomplishment my Jabari here to keep up, even with that starting TC spot, which he probably just tried to rush up to get going. I like how they switch sibs next game. Good rule. Yeah, I think it's good for Nomad to have something like that, simply because otherwise we'd always see Persians, Malians, those kinds of sibs on Nomad, and probably Lithuanians a lot on Land Nomad and these kinds of things. But we're going to Jabari's home map next. It's Kurgan's 1-0 for now. Oh, they started already. Um, yeah, I searched in lobby first to see if they had the lobby, but now it's spectate here. So we're good to go. We have Jabari's home map for the next one. It is Mountain Pass. Here we go. So Mountain Pass, land-based map here. You see all these mountains. That's kind of the idea with Mountain Pass. Lots of sheep to be taken. And it's a map with barely any water. Sometimes you'd see shorefish in these small ponds, but in general, overall, just a land map. These mountain tops actually makes it a little bit awkward to wall sometimes, because the villagers actually pass right through them sometimes. Anyway, here we have the TC for Kurgan. Has a pretty close villager spawns here, which is very useful when putting down the first TC. Partly on the hill here as well, providing some extra protection in terms of hill damage if you have to villager fight or whatnot, fight with your villagers or whatnot. Another rule in my tournament is that you're not allowed to villager fight before 5 minutes. That's just to ensure that the town centers go up and that we get the games rolling. TC for Jabari in the south as well. See that this had a farther walk for the villagers. That's kind of unfair with these Nomad openings, but that's just the way it is. And this time around, dropping the TC on a woodline. I like to see that. Also, stone right next to TC. So if Jabari scouts Kurgan early enough here, a tower rush could absolutely be useful. Less accessible gold on Mount Pass could be a tricky map for Turks. Absolutely. You see gold spots. So many of them just all the way towards the edge here, right? And overall less gold than on Nomad. You'd be forced to expand as the game goes on. What I like about the players' positions, at least Kurgan's position, is that it's not too close towards the edge. I've seen it many times on Land Nomad and other maps that if you position yourself too close to the edge, you can never flee or expand behind your base, right? So if you're under pressure, you risk getting walled in and and have very little space to move around. For Jabari's case, it's a bit worse. It's quite close to the edge here, but fortunately the front side is very open, so I think Jabari is fine either way. They spawn further away than the previous game here, so we'd probably see scouts from both players again, and then to try and contest map control that way. Just a quick fast forward here to make sure I'm live with them with live time here. So you want to scout, you want to maybe even commit a villager to scouting on this map, because there's so many sheep to be found around. That's a good food source to have. There are some patches of hunt as well. And we see Jabari here now taking some of that hunt to boost the food income here. Oh, that was quite far behind actually. So Kurgan actually falling a bit behind here. Could be Loom as well, but all in all, 2 builders behind should suggest that Jabari has had either less idle time or just a more efficient build all in all. We're at the slabs here, great open land map civ. The food eco from the farms is just will just have your food eco skyrocketing as you get to the slabs boom. And there's some berries here to be taken as well, some hunt. I think Jabari is in a good spot for an early uptime here to contest his opponent's area. And looking at the wood disposition here, it looks very much like scouts to me. So going heavily on food and then committing or relocating a total of 10 villagers to wood afterwards. 1 villager moving forward now, maybe going to capture some more sheep, drop some houses. And also found some enemy houses over here, so that absolutely suggests that Kurgan is in this area. Kurgan with same population as Jabari, but still hasn't ticked up. Now this Kurgan has found gold in the back here. That could somehow be secured by a little bit of creating walling around here to leave it exposed only to ranged options. I wonder what Jabari's idea is here. Is it probably going to drop some forward production here now? He's actually going to reach the feudal age before Kurgan can even get there here. What's the what's the plan there? Is it just scouting or? It's a sneak villager. It's a sneak. Nice. Here comes the stable, and the barracks is at home in the event of enemy scouts running into your base. Good awareness of Kurgan though to wall off a little bit here. Will suspect these scouts, but not good still being in the Dark Age here for the Turks player. I think the walls will go up in time here. But then again, Jabari could move forward with this forward builder and just drop a tower on either of these palisades so that the scouts could hit around. His table sneak is further away than if he built it at home. Nah, it's about the same. But now it's time. Ooh, stable blacksmith. I was thinking if it was double stables, but stable blacksmith is fine as well. Let's look at Jabari's eco setup here. I did not go to gold yet. Obviously, with the scouts build, you delay that for a bit. But the gold is quite close to his starting TC, so that's good right here. Walling off a bit, forcing the aggression to come around here. When or if that's to happen, but then again, Kurgan is only 50% feudal age, so there won't be any serious aggression for Kurgan just yet. There we go. 3 scouts out on the field. I think I'm seeing Jabari getting forging as well. But at the cost of idling the TC for a little bit there. So scouts are a worthwhile investment anyway on maps like these, and I don't love Kurgan's way to wall here. Kurgan is giving away the whole map now to Jabari with these kinds of walls. Of course, Kurgan can expand later and just wants to keep his early eco safe, but when you wall off like this, it's just begging to be towered by Kurgan here, who by the way has stone access right next to the TC. So if you notice your enemy is full wall like this, and you see eco right behind the walls, just drop those towers and force them to react to that. Kurgan is with a villager lead though, so less idle time overall here. Of course, much later to the feudal age, but given the scouts investment, Jabari isn't doing much more than just causing quick walls here. Look at this spearman ready to engage at the back of the wall, and this scout is literally inside the palisade, and still he needs to hit away at it to get through here. That's an interesting visual right there. Both players keeping villager production going. But now it's Jabari who is on the offensive here. Scouts have +1 attack, so they have forging in. No defense just yet. I like how Jabari has stopped committing to army though. Both players idled right now actually. And lots of idles at home for Jabari here that needs to be addressed. But Jabari is with the score lead, has slightly more military, and has in general much more scouting on the map. Now just stop producing scouts, start preparing for a castle age and a potential siege push. Maybe try and force some quick walls. But all in all, just could just commit these scouts to scouting the rest of the map as well. Kurgan with 2 spears at the ready here. That could be hurtful for the scouts here, but instead of letting the scouts in, Kurgan is just going for the repairs on the wall yet again here, and that's not going to take it too much of a cost on the wood income for Kurgan here. You could barely even see the wood count diminishing here from these repairs. So it is indeed a kind of a fast castle build here from the Turks player, dropping a defensive tower now because Jabari is dropping a forward tower now on the TC, so he's going to idle some of the farm eco here. Scouts find their way in because the tower is an effective distraction here, even walling in the tower. I like this aggression from Jabari, keeping the enemy busy, could maybe be able to take the Turks player off stones and gold now. Oh, this is going to be so annoying, but it's also very little space for the scouts to roam around here. Oh, see how it focus fires with the tower here to try and take out the villager who got distracted by the scouts? That was a nice play. One issue though is that Kurgan is well on the way to the castle age with a good eco save for food to support that. Jabari, meanwhile, has only 75 stone after dropping that one tower and has quite a few idols at home, but is on the way to the castle age as well, though. So there's castle age for our Turks friend here, Turks player. One stable is up, so could be going into camels here maybe, or even knights would work out here. Jabari has plugged the gap now to the south, and same as Kurgan, really giving away a lot of the map here with this kind of walling. Of course, once the cast age kicks in, you could start expanding. You just send some builders out and drop TCs at strategic places. Jabari with 2 forward stables though, so once Cast Age is in, we should be looking at Jabari flooding some knights into Kurgan's economy here. And Turks, only options against knights. I mean, you have spearmen and you could upgrade them and they would be decent, but not great. So Turks would have to rely on camels or knights to deal with camels or monks. I mean, to deal with enemy knights or knights for that matter. But that's not a counter. You see the camels in the making here. Kurgan is expecting a stable follow-up after Javari is sending scouts into their base. So we have a double stable knights production from Jabari now. Even a monastery to snag this relic and maybe convert enemy camels. I was going to say Jabari will have to think about adding a complementary unit to deal with enemy camels here, but I think the monastery serves some of that purpose as you could start pumping out some monks to convert enemy units here. We'll have a bit of aggression. Yeah, only a spearman there for Kurgan. Does he know the location of the opponent? Not yet, really, but he found a house. That's something. I love the usage of spearmen here to gain some extra intel on the map. What the Turk player could also do here for mobility and to counter walling is to go for the cab archers, because the Turks have fully upgraded cab archers, I believe, and they also have a unique bonus giving the cab archers extra hit points. We have a forward again now, and +1/+1 for the knights here. Should have an easier time breaking through the walls now. And a monk as well. So if a villager tries to repair the monks can use their range to convert villagers or camels for that matter, and that's exactly what Jabari is doing right now. Yeah, got a little bit lucky there with the conversion. The lights are in, so they're going to cause trouble for Kurgan's economy at the back of his walls here now. Here comes a panicked defensive castle near the edge of the map here. That's going to cost Kurgan quite a few villagers actually, and all in all, Jabari is with an almost 10 villager lead now, just picking off villagers like... yeah, lots of easy kills here. 47-29 now. Jabari with some fantastic knights raids here now, taking a serious villager lead of 20 villagers. And Kurgan will have to really do some work to recover and restabilize here. Of course, this cast goes up eventually. You'd have the option for Janissaries or simply just cover your stones and golds here, but this castle isn't really taking too much map control overall, and there's some great value from Jabari there. Look at the KD, 31-9 here, at 49-22 villagers. So Jabari is with 2 TCs for the moment. And yeah, same number as the opponent. And look at the forward castle. 1 villager building a forward castle. That's a hero builder if I've ever seen any. All Kurgan needs to do here is drop a defensive tower so the tower can kill building a villager. 1 villager building a forward castle. This is a 105 castle if I've ever seen any. There we go, there's the tower. There's still a monk here to maybe convert an army here as well to take these villagers down. So maybe it's easier said than done for Kurgan here to get that castle stopped, and the GG is called. Wow. Okay, so if I'm going to point out any mistakes here, it's that Kurgan panicked a bit in the back here to get this defensive castle up. It doesn't really... I mean, it protects the gold, it protects the stones, it protects the woodland. But it's just I'd rather commit these villagers to some different area. Say, for example, over now, bad example over there, but somewhere away from Jabari's armies. Jabari is very focused on Kurgan's home army here. So if you go, say, for example, here and drop a castle somewhere in the area, you have lots of economy secured for yourself, or even even go forward for a distraction at home. But yeah, not the best castle spot, although it does protect a little bit of golds and stones and farming here. So that's going to be a 1-1. And we'll be going to Kurgan's home map next. And Kurgan, now the players get to pick Civ. It's hidden Civ free pick from now on. No reuse of the previous ones though. As a general rule, that's been the rule all the way. Looking a bit at stats here, Jabari with a stronger eco and army numbers the same here. Up times, pretty similar cast age, but Kurgan failing to defend enough for that higher villager count to pay off in the castle age. Very late feudal, by the way, so that's a huge difference right there. Villager high is pretty even, but as we see, the way it ended, there was half of Kurgan's villagers going down trying to get that castle up. Alright, let's see if they have the next one up. Oh, I have to update the score as well. Looks like Land Nomads is the next one. And yeah, hopefully I get the lobby ID so I can search it up as well. There is found it in spectate. Let's go into the next one. So they picked civs now for this one. And the game 3 is on Land Nomad. We have Mongols for Jabari versus Kurgan's Vietnamese here. Have to say I favor Mongols here because of the potential for hunt. There's lots of small patches of hunt everywhere. And since Vietnamese are usually most likely to go archers, you'd be having less mobility with the Vietnamese. Of course, they have the option of elephants and knights and cavalry and that kind of stuff as well, even scouts if you want to. So I'm not going to completely discourage it, but the Mongols hunt bonus could be huge here, I think, for Jabari. Look at Jabari even dropping the TC right on a woodline and right next to some hunt here. So that's a fantastic starting spot for Mongols. That's a very risky lure there with the help of TC Fire, but does salvage it in the end. And now we're caught up with live gameplay. So let's have a look at the players' starting positions here. We have Jabari, the Mongols player here in the north. Has a pig to commit to scouting, so that food income will mainly be from hunt here. And the hunters of Mongols work for 40% faster. Does Vietnamese bonus on seeing starting TC work on Nomad? Yes, it does. So once the TC is up from the enemy, you get to know its locations. That's of course a good reason to pick Nomad Vietnamese for Nomad starts. Again, though, I don't like these starting spots here. Yes, it's right next to a chunky woodline, but with a position like this, if Jabari scouts Kurgan's area here now, spot here, Jabari could wall this, could wall here, and then there's only one place Kurgan could expand. Of course, you don't get easily walled off in this open section here, but you are in a way in a position to decide easily where the fighting goes down. If you find your enemy's location and you're scouting at some point, you just wall off these sections and limit their potential of expanding towards the east. But Kurgan, of course, being Vietnamese, knows the location of Jabari's TC, so that's going to come in handy if they whatever kind of opening they go for. Looks like Kurgan's TC went up a bit later though, because he's with 11, he's down almost 2 villagers here. Decent scouting at work though. There's some hunt patches over here, there's some hunt down here. Shouldn't necessarily be struggling for food here, but it's easier to keep the eco going being Mongols here. Looks like Jabari's found another boar and also has these ibexes here to take, so that's going to affect their uptime by a lot, I think. House is sorely needed though, but it's on the way, so I think Jabari is going to make that just in time not to get housed. And as we see, both players are using pigs to scout the map here to get some grasp of where the resources are, the woodlands, the golds, the stones, everything. Now, Land Nomad could risk in long-lasting games, because if you see the resources here, golds and stone, like on regular Nomad as well, there's lots of extra resources overall. There's, I mean, the idea is that you are going to expand and fight for map control, so there's extra resources. Stone in abundance for castles, maybe not on Land Nomad as much, but you still have many of these small patches of stone around. And then many four-tile patches of gold. So if you have two good defensive players, you'd risk having hour-long games on Land Nomad and more, because there's always some place to flee to if your scouting is on point. Stable going, sorry, blacksmith. What am I saying? I'm apparently still asleep here. Barracks going up for Jabari here. Not sure what that means. It's a very early barracks, but it's also a good investment of food since it's floating so much wood right now. You don't need farms as early with Mongols, obviously, because you have some very consistent food income in the hunt. But it suggests to me that Jabari wants to go up here rather early and go for some scouts to try and get some early damage in on the opponent here. Village on the way for Jabari here at 21 villagers, 21 population. At that is now going for some boar hunt over here, I'd say. Could even take another boar here if Jabari finds it in the scouting. That's a bit of an unlucky scouting there. Boar just one tile off here. But village is on the way. Kurgan has a somewhat easy wall off here. Is going for the barracks here, so we'll have the potential for defense once the village kicks in, but it's a 40% difference, which could be crucial here for the development of the game. Lots of idols around the TC as well. That's something you usually don't want to have. Now committing them to a woodline and some more food income for the pig here. Now Kurgan does know the TC location of Jabari, so that makes the archers' offensive easier. But there's still an opening on this side. Did Kurgan scout this? Yes, he did. The far side though? Yeah, alright. So Kurgan should know a little bit of where to wall here. And if he walls up here, and here, then he has a pretty decent base, although still very crippled in the corner of the map, but has access to a total of 3 golds and 2 stones here. So you could actually afford staying there for a while. Another boar being brought in here. That's going to boost the food income of Jabari quite a bit here. Looks healthy though, would still be able to afford 2 or 3 scouts here once the table goes up. I like the attention of the walling here for Jabari as well, all the way to the edge of the map. And then these sections here, one small little gap near the TC here, but that's just going to be plugged now, so that's good. Kurgan goes for some local walls here. I think it makes sense given the chance of scouts aggression coming their way. Just like the previous game, Jabari is going to move forward now with the scouts and just be plain annoying against the enemy's small starting position here. Does Jabari know the location though? That's interesting. Mongols extra line of sight on the scouts certainly helps out a bit here as well. Alright, let's see if they find any enemy settlement here. Jabari with good scouting on the map, and the Mongols extra line of sight helping out here as well. Sees one boar, sees the houses now. Okay, actually has a little bit of vision on the farms here as well. That's probably sheep scouting for early on. Cannot quite get through though. But looking at the TC spot here, I think Jabari could still, again, like the previous game, go for tower or towers here. Because if you place tower, for example, in this area, preferably with fletching, you'd reach some of the farming eco and the TC. You just have to make sure it's outside the range of the TC, of course. Double palisades for Jabari now. Wants to be safe at home, dropping a mill next to the TC here to extend the farming. There's still some more hunt to take in the back here, something Jabari could consider doing. There's actually 3 ibexes there. There's a 3, yeah, a bit above 400 food right there. Population counts pretty similar though. And walls will keep scouts out, but walls won't necessarily keep enemy archers out. So here, for example, you could sit with a couple of archers and harass the woodline here. Otherwise, it's okay for now. So might be looking at a longer game here than the previous two, considering that both players are walled off and just setting up their economies for the long run here. Archers, no upgrades whatsoever just yet. In fact, there isn't a blacksmith yet for Kurgan here. And Jabari with the 3 scouts decides to commit to scouting the map instead now. There's not much damage to be done beyond the walls for scouts. They don't have range, they have to break through the walls and then get in, so might as well just use them for something appropriate like they're actually made for scouting. I'm looking at the economies here as well. Jabari seems to be with a much more healthy economy here, getting close to that cast age slick, whereas Kurgan has more military. 10 military total, but will have limited damage potential beyond Jabari's walls here. Jabari being behind walls here and on the way to the cast stage could also opt for some easy defensive siege as the cast stage kicks in here. I can't help but think that playing an Archer Civil and Nomad isn't necessarily optimal. You have less mobility as a general rule. This palisade could be broken through by the Archers though, it's very weak when it's not completed. But Kurgan moves on board as well, doesn't want to get too close to the TC obviously. And now we'll find a woodland that can be hit here. Now for Jabari's case here, once the cast stage kicks in terms of defense, I think a Siege Workshop and just a couple of Scorpions would handle this army forward very nicely, because you'd have the range of the Scorpions. Of course you could go Mangonels as well and get some serious blasts in, but Scorpions are cheaper and would do very well. They do shoot through armies, right? So you would risk more damage to your armies by Scorpions here with a little bit more mobility. Scorpions are slow as well, but not nearly as slow and immaneuverable as a Mangonel is. Gate Builder should be picked off here. No. Kurgan is in the peaceful corner for the time being. Second TC goes up for Jabari right after rebuilding a lumber camp here. But yeah, extended the eco at the very least, and Kurgan keeps on with the feudal army here. I mean, that's going to be dangerous once the cast stage kicks in and he can get crossbows. He keeps a villager lead, of course, as well, because he hasn't gone up to the next age yet. So army numbers could be of essence here as the game moves on, but you really need to get into your enemy's base still. And Jabari goes for a TC on the stone now as well. Triple TCs for Jabari, going to catch up in villagers in no time, and Kurgan, of course, will have the TC not able to produce villagers when the cast stage research is on the way as well. Jabari really likes his sneak plays here. Here's a monastery in the corner for Jabari. A monastery actually being cancelled? What? Knight running forward, no upgrades at all. Is going to be very weak to even feudal age archers fire, of course. Good reaction from Jabari at home though. It's adding a siege workshop here because he knows that he's going to get a load of crossbows his way quite soon. Monster is up, and also a mining camp in the corner here with this very distant villager far from home. Relics aren't as essential on Nomad maps like these than on regular maps, given all of the neutral golds everywhere. But it's still a steady trickle of gold that you wouldn't have otherwise, so why not just make use of our monks that way? 24 military now moving forward for Kurgan, looking for a point of entry. And this side should be a good spot here. It's a double walls here, of course, but it's also going to be awkward for Jabari to quick wall behind this. The siege workshop is up though. I don't think there's any siege produced just yet. I think house walls here now, yeah. Here comes the defensive Mangonel as well from Jabari, so he's going to contest this Vietnamese army moving forward. Even a stone wall here to really make it tough for the now crossbows to move in. Bodkin arrow isn't in yet though, it is right around the corner here for the Vietnamese player, and even though it's going to take a while to break through a house, I think the crossbows will finally find their way inside here. Oh, here comes the Mangonel though. Jabari really turtling this one out behind walls. Here comes the first castle. That's great. That's going to limit any archers entry here once the castle is up. And the Mangonel could serve useful to take out the Vietnamese crossbows here as well. One advantage of Vietnamese is that their archery range units get plus 20 hit points. So they are less likely to die to one Mangonel shot. We saw them just almost. Mangonel goes down in the end though, and the crossbows will break through. Kurgan is luckily unaware of the castle going up here though, so that's going to be a bit of a surprise. Boom. Fall back! There we go. Multiple groups of archers here now on the move. Kurgan could get some easy, sneaky villager pickoffs here with the proper attention here, and yeah, seems to be a seasoned archers player here. It's keeping good track of both armies here. Might be thinking about collecting them together now. But once you see a flag on the siege workshop, that's going to ring the alarm bells for you. Look at this. Bam. Bam. Yeah, right. So once you see a flag on the siege workshop next to your archers, run away! Otherwise, you risk losing some numbers to sneaky Mangonels or other kinds of siege units. Thumbering on the way for Kurgan now as well. That's going to make the archers line more accurate, and they also fire faster. Again though, here comes a Mangonel to contest the Vietnamese armies here. Kurgan not paying enough attention to the units now, but here comes the forward siege workshop and castle for Kurgan. Palisade gate flag is hiding workshop's flag. Oh, okay. Well, that's next level stealth. Then okay, that one. So what's important here now for Kurgan is to get the siege workshop up first and then the castle. Look at this commitment though, it's 14 villagers to go forward and build a siege workshop and castle. Not exactly hiding, but still it's difficult to differ in the heat of battle, absolutely. Still, you wouldn't want to keep your archers too close to an enemy siege workshop though. Uh-oh. Let's see. Nice. Kurgan doesn't start the castle yet. No. It's not a doubt castle. It's not even started. Ow, 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 ow. I'm getting a feeling of deja vu here. So Kurgan did commit a lot of villagers to a defensive castle the previous game. At least this one is forward. And from the looks of it, maybe it will go up. The Mangonel is out forward here now. The population between the players isn't all that different. But of course there's much more army for Kurgan here. So if you can get this castle up somehow, it's a good spot to push actually. This castle reaches the ranges that he sees, so we'd be looking at some damage output here once the castle goes up. Jabari with the castle of his own though, and the eco overall for Jabari should of course be much stronger here, given the earlier multiple TCs and the superior villager lead here. So you might be seeing Mangonel versus Rattan Archers in this game, but one key point here is that Jabari is on the way up to the Imperial Age. So once the Imperial Age kicks in, then Jabari can bring Trebs out, or drill siege rams for that matter. It was down to 20 HP when the first Magnet shot. Oh, ouch. Yeah. Green just needed a knight. Well, he did have one knight neck. It just wasn't enough against the crossbows. Yeah, Jabari with less resources in the bank, but that's also being on the way to the Imperial Age. Army numbers very different here, 28 to 3 military right now, and Jabari loses 1 TC, but has already relocated right in front of the castle there. I like that TC, it's on stones and golds and right next to the castle. Not much the archers can do here. Garrison! Hello! Okay, we don't want to idle builds here. Let's just land Nomad, yes. No Cumans. Okay, that one. So it's actually a good push from Kerrigan here, taking out 1 TC and now threatening a siege workshop. But what's going to stop the siege push is that Jabari has a castle on either side here, so there's very limited potential for siege pushing here. Imperial Age on the way for Jabari though, that's a good sign. Would be able to bring Trebs to the field as well. Mongols are definitely still solid, and Jabari did make use of that early hunt bonus. Even built a TC right next to some boar and deer. Jabari needs a house. Uh-oh. Running in the middle of Mangonels again. Nice dodge though. Micro nerd. So KD is very much in Jabari's favor though. It's 58 to 13. Almost looks like a trade line to the left side here, but that's houses and palisades and some expansion. And little forward base here for Jabari with the monastery in the very corner of the map to snag one of the relics that were here. Military 22 to 14 now. That's mainly Mangudai and Mangonels for Jabari here. And 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 now I see that the TC that used to be here was Kurgan's Imperial HTC. So that shifts the favors of the game a lot, because now Jabari will be Imperial Age and Kurgan will not. Please don't tell me that this is the Imp TC. Because then... yeah, it's in the... what am I looking at here? I saw someone... was 100% sure I saw someone cancelling the Imperial Age or something. Yeah. Never mind. I must be completely confused here. Imperial Age on the way for Kurgan, at the very least. Going for another castle here, and we'll be starting to contest the Treb Wars soon enough. Jabari, on the other hand, has Elite Mangadai on the way. Has some proper upgrades here. Has the range, has the university, has the stables, obviously. And Mangadai raids going on Kurgan's eco to the left-hand side for the moment. Trebs are out to contest one of the forward castles here, and Mangada, not ideal obviously against Rattan Archers. They have a high pierce armor, but they're still doing work here with the help of a castle here. So Kurgan now down to 8 military, and will be losing castles as well, so that's going to limit the production potential quite a bit. And losing all of that army, and yeah, falling behind in the economy in the early cast stage. With Jabari earlier up, that proves that Mongols are still powerful on land Nomad, and it's going to be a 2-1 for Jabari now. Kurgan's home map next. 97 to 19 KD. That's Jabari domination right here. Largest army for Kurgan, but behind the walls, not easy to punish Mongols here. More eco overall for the Mongols player as expected here, and much quicker cast age. That's the Mongols hunt bonus kicking in there as well. You have a much more fluent food economy from early on. Villager numbers in the end evening out a bit. We got to 2 TCs for Kurgan it seems, and a forward push that kind of almost worked, but being behind to the Imperial Age is a huge setback in that regard. And look at these army numbers, lots of archers here, and finally taking some losses to mangonel hits, and in the end, just failing the push with the ratans and crossbows, and getting down to elite Mangudai, which was about to kick in any moment. So that's going to be a 2-1 for Jabari. Water Nomad! That's the next one. Game 4 will be on Kurgan's home map again, and it's Water Nomad. They pick saves, it's hidden save, free pick. I love it. Water Nomad, such a messy map. You start with 13 population. This is the final of the lower of my 2 brackets neck, so this is the 1200 max final. And the 1200 to 1500 bracket is still in the semi-final stages, or about to reach the semi-final stages, so that's still a little way to go there. But here we have Water Nomad. You start with a whooping 13 population, 7 villagers, and from the looks of it, 6 fishing ships. You want to get your TC down. You don't want to drop too many houses because you really need that dock, but I guess a dock costs 150 wood, so Kurgan is able to afford a dock here as well. You need that dock for the fish to be efficient early on, because you need that drop off spot for the fish. TC is up for Kurgan though, and picks melee for Water Nomad here. So Kurgan aiming to get to the Feudal Age early here and get to the water domination. And as you can see, this hybrid terrain here is just begging for demolition shots on exposed economies like fish or villagers. Melee going up 66% faster is going to be a huge advantage here potentially if Kurgan doesn't, if Kurgan can get food eco rolling to get up at the proper time. You have to remember the second building as well, of course, in order to get up to the next stage. Both players seem to be off to decent starts though. Kurgan more quickly up with the houses and everything, and actually avoids getting housed here, has the food eco rolling, and with 1 villager lead overall here. I like the TC spot as well. You have the water buffalo here, food source, you have the fish, and woodland right next to the TC, gold right next to the TC. So you don't easily just send a demo in here and kill off 4 villagers with 1 shot here. Meanwhile, on Jabari's side, they're very close here. That could be yet another advantage for Malay here. Fishing ships are blocked. Where, what? These? Oh, they're blocked under TC. No. This is fine. But starting very close to each other here. Do they know each other's location? Kurgan. I don't think he knows, and Jabari is about to scout the enemy side here with the Loom Villager. Peekaboo! I know what you're up to. Get off my fish, says the angry woman. Blue doesn't have any fish close to dock, that's true. Looks like a far distance to travel for these ships, so that's maybe something to keep in mind for Water Nomad. Where to place the first dock in order to have optimized fish. I've never played Water Nomad, so I couldn't really relate to this. Villager count even for both players though, and food count, yeah, not quite close to the fuel age yet. I'm guessing the players will pick up at maybe 26 pop or something. House wall is a problem. It makes ships so inefficient. Yes. Gate would be better here, I think. But also you want to rush the houses up so you don't get pop capped. Here comes another dock, though, on this side. There's still some deep fish to be taken in this area from Kurgan, so not the worst spot for a new dock. And fuel age on the way for Kurgan, the Malay player, going to have a serious head start over Jabari here, who will click up soon, but is still missing the second building, I think. And yeah, going for another dock in the Dark Age. No, not missing the building, he's with the lumber camp here. But Malay going up 66% faster is still going to have a huge head start to the fuel age here. 4 on gold for Kurgan, suggesting it's going to go straight into the naval military here. And this wood eco is actually kind of exposed. I mean, you could use the TC to snipe a demolition ship still, but if you sneak it in on this side, could be looking at quite a few dead villagers. If the players think about the demo ship meta here, let's see. Nope. Here we're going for the fire galleys. Combination of fire galleys and galleys here from Malay. So I've casted quite a few Water Nomad games in this tournament, and very few players go for the demolition ships. I mean, this wood eco is just begging to be demoed. If you send 1 or 2 demos at these guys, you'd kill 4 or 5 villagers just like that, and it could be almost GG because Jabari would lose all of the wood income. So I think players are thinking to standard water here with galleys and fire galleys here. Of course, that will be dealing damage as well to the fish. But yeah, look at the gold as well. 2 demolition ships here, and all these gold miners are goodbye. Everyone who's gonna play this map should play Red Alert 2 or CNC Generals before. Why? Because of the demolition ships? Or you think about those nuclear trucks over that one, or? Alright, good hit on the fish eco here of Jabari though. That's 1 villager down already. 3 villagers lead for Kurgan, about to be 4. My truck is loaded. I have never played CNC Generals, but I have played my share of Red Alert 1 and 2. I have Red Alert 1 remastered. I played sometimes online as well. We have 2 docks for Jabari as well though. Kurgan with 5 to 2 military here. Again, I'd love to see some... Oh, we have a demo in the making for Jabari. We gotta follow that one. So let's see if Jabari's demo goes to onto the enemy ships or into the enemy eco. Oh, oh, oh! Block! The block! Oh, still a good hit. Red Alert 3 is pure shit. I never played Red Alert 3. I don't... Or actually I have it on Steam, but I realized after 3 minutes that this is not my game. So it's Kurgan here still with the military domination, 6-1 now, still no sign of a demo ship. It's just very exposed eco, still begging to be hit here by Kurgan. But he's keeping the enemy army numbers low, which is good. He's keeping the villager counts at bay as well. And note that Jabari isn't making villagers at all at this rate. So actually none of them were, but Kurgan doesn't change the fact that Kurgan is still 8 villagers ahead of his opponent here, and with the military numbers on water. Now going for the woodland as well. Please, please, please send a demolition ship here. More fire galleys coming this way, could take out even more fish here. Demo! Alright, another good demo hit from Jabari here, but yeah, I still feel like they would benefit so much from sending demos into enemy eco instead. Kurgan being really annoying with the military advantage here though, 7-0 military right now, taking Jabari off gold here. Jabari on a different gold mine, but the fire galleys will address that as well. More fish will go down, and the villager count is kept at an 8 villager lead for Kurgan, as they both have idols as well, and Kurgan is the only one producing villagers. This doesn't look too pretty for Jabari, the Italians player, but it's also not quite over. Gold and wood will be an issue though, and again just a few demolition ships inside the woodland here, and it's GG for Jabari because you're desperate for wood for the production. Still wood enough to make 1 or 2 more ships, but that's also about it. Getting idle a lot here, down to 23 villager. All of the fish are gone for Jabari here, and another dock is coming up for Kurgan here. Still 8-3 military. Shouldn't be an easy way back here for Kurgan, who is trying to relocate. Oh, still has some fish actually. I thought he lost all of his fish, but apparently didn't. Kurgan far away from that castle click, but with a much healthier population, 6-3 military and 12 villagers lead now total. Oh. Please send it to the enemy coast. Woodland? Oh, that was disappointing. Only one. And Jabari taking a fight under TC fire there. That's subpar. The galleys desperately need fletching here as well for some more damage output against enemy fire ships here, fire galleys, I mean. Jabari is back on gold, is dropping the blacksmith now as well. Could be thinking about that the next stage actually with Italians because it's cheaper. But another dock gets contested here by Kurgan, and the military numbers are in fact 3 times as large for Kurgan here as opposed to Jabari. So this should be Kurgan's game, which is their home map as well, and we might be looking at the 2-2 and a final game in the best of 5 here. Galleys firing away, but still no fletching. I think jabate them towards the TC and you get some extra help, but also without fletching, the TC's damage potential is limited as well. 42-27 villagers though, and the eco's actually looking very close to castle age for Jabari here. I think Jabari is missing the second building still, but nevertheless, castle age is right around the corner. Oh, but yet again, Kurgan is playing the map here, taking the enemy off gold. That's going to impair the production yet again. Wood is obviously an issue as well. Jabari has the blacksmith, but does not have a market, does not have any other feudal age building to get to the next age. Oh, the repair micro. And Kurgan now only 200 food shy of clicking up here. I think he's happy with the current army count. 10 to 3 military still. Keeping some galleys and fire galleys now with fletching on the wood here. Galleys with fletching. And just makes it so tough for Jabari to take the much needed resources here. No castle edge click for Jabari, simply missing that second building, so the up click isn't an option for him either. Here we go with the 800 food for Jabari it is, not Kurgan, but for Jabari. Let's look at Kurgan's point of view. Only 50 food short of the up click now. He's missing the second building as well, though. Only the blacksmith for now will need a market as well, and so much wood is invested into naval army that I think they forget that they need wood for the second building to click up as well. Both players are with the food and gold more or less to click up now, but it is more justified for Kurgan here than for Jabari. $11 to 2 military now. None of the players going up. And Jabari decides to tap out. This is too much to handle, these kinds of R numbers. I'm off gold yet again. Probably pretty darn frustrated here not being able to take any resources. And proves that starting this closely together on Water Nomad is just OP for the Malay player here. Let's have a look at the stats. It's a 2-2. We'll be going to a final and fifth game here. Huge equal lead for Kurgan in the end, though. Could be Fish working there. 26 to 21 KD, largest army 12. Food and gold and everything here higher for the Malay player. Didn't take as serious hits as home. We did see one demolition ship from Jabari in Kurgan's wood eco, though, that could have caused a little bit of an upset there. Uptimes of significance as well, pretty early uptimes, but you also start with 13 population, so the road to fuel age is shorter than your usual. Did I note wrong the previous game? I think this is a 2-2 for Kerrigan. I hope I didn't note anything wrong here. Shit. Yeah, no, you had me worried there, Neck. I think we'll have one more. So we'll have a game 5. It's right around the corner. And actually, in the pool, we're only left with 2 more maps. We have, which means it's going to be either Pilgrims or Nile Delta here. I think the map is map pool is here. Let's go Nile Delta. It's not unlikely Ogilvy won because it's been in the ranked 1-1 pool not too long ago. So absolutely an option to see Nile Delta here. When I tell them to land in the same land. Nah. It's pilgrims. Sorry, Ovid, I won. So it's pilgrims is still hidden civ free pick, no reuse. Uh, which I admittedly forgot to tell them, so we might be seeing some reuse here. Alright, let's go. Final game. Best of 5 here, 5th game between Kurgan and Jabari. And we have Vikings versus Spanish for Pilgrims here. Interesting. So Pilgrims, huge land on the top here. Looks almost like a butt cheek, but anyway. We have players starting with a transport ship, and you'd usually want to transport your villagers to the mainland, get your TC down, get your production going. Which is what Kurgan is doing here, whereas Jabari is going for the TC on the mainland here. And I don't love it because it's giving up a lot of map control. Of course, yes, you get to start producing villagers much earlier than your opponent. But now with Kurgan sending all of his villagers to the mainland here, he'll have the TC up as well, and that difference is even out quite a lot. There's a little bit of sheep here to be taken. I think Jabari is about to find them. But all in all here, look at the resources on this main island. You have some gold, you have some stone, but that's all. Then you'd have to relocate to the mainland. And the only advantage I could see here is that you won't be subject to any early aggression from Kurgan here. And you'd be in a better spot to get to the cast stage quicker, maybe. But you'd have to rely on farms here unless you drop the dock ASAP here for Jabari. And I don't even see a dock from Jabari yet. Okay, yeah, this could very well be becoming Kurgan's game early on here. They start with the lumber camp on the main island, and now also the TC for Jabari. But will be struggling a lot for food here, Jabari, given that the dock isn't up quite. I want those sheep. Nick, I think it's GG as well. They do still have the potential for a restart. I think I said 4 or 5 minutes, don't quite remember. But yeah, I think they'll be playing on. And I think Kurgan has a massive advantage here. Already 2 villagers up. What's going on here? So Kurgan converted the sheep, wants his own sheep for his own. I didn't want those at home here. Oh, he took them! So apparently palisades aren't enough to keep sheep going. Okay. Jabari going to the mainland. Won't be dropping any TC anytime soon, but at least is with presence on the mainland here. We're miles away from the cast age. Here comes the dock though, and actually I kind of like that dock as opposed to docking on your starting island as you'd see players do on this map many times. Because there's lots of deep fish here close to this dock to be taken, and it's actually about as efficient as the Viking players dock here. But look at the score here already for Kurgan. It's he seems to have a plan for this map. It is actually Jabari's home map, I think. This one, so it's a bit peculiar to me that Jabari chooses to play it like this with the TC on the mainland and then expanding later to the mainland. But if you don't know and to know the map all that well, you don't necessarily know that there is a bigger island to move around to here. So just run the map in the scenario editor or something to see what it's like, and you'll adapt to that. It's all of the resources are on the mainland here, so that's what we should be going for early on for map control. By dropping the TC on your starting island like this, you're giving up a lot of map control already. And all in all, it's only one villager difference between these two players, though. So credits to Jabari for salvaging the situation to some extent here. But not having a TC on the mainland is going to hurt in the long run. Just look at Kurgan bringing in the boar here for an additional good food source. Not really an option for Jabari on the island here. Get to work, guys. There we go. Deer hunting, food picking. Kurgan is looking at the feudal age quite soon here, I think. There's only two and a half, 3 villagers difference here. And yeah, both players have loom. So that's not going to be a difference. Lots of villager bumping though. Improved villager pathing, guys. That's what it looks like. I think they write that in every patch note just to make people think they're doing it. Second dock going up for Kurgan. Going to contest the water now in the feudal age, I'd assume. It's 2 docks for Jabari, 1 dock on the mainland as well. I like the efficiency of these 2 docks. You have even shorter distance to the deep fish from this one, so not at all that bad from Jabari, given the current situation here. He really needs that food boost as well to be able to catch up with Kurgan, who is now clicking to the feudal age. Did I fast forward this one? Yeah, I did. So we have 2 third dock going up for Jabari, so if Jabari can somehow make it to feudal age, he'll have Fiery Galley, something that Vikings don't get, and could be a way to take a bit of water control here for the Spanish, until the Vikings can get to the Castle Age and the longboats, that is. Kurgan's not on gold yet. He has some gold on the shoreline, but this is obviously just 1 galley away from being stopped by enemy aggression. So that's a real bad gold and stone spots on the starting island from Kurgan here. But on the other hand, he's already on the mainland, has 2 golds here right next to his hunters. Shouldn't be a huge issue. Jabari is struggling for the feudal age click here, though. Didn't farm anything on the mainland. Guess that makes sense all in all here, but sending more villagers to land here might be going for some hunt or something to boost the food income. Kurgan only missing 200 food and the gold to click up to the next stage now. And for now, no military production on water for Kurgan, because he's not gone to gold yet. I think it's the fast castle and longboats here for the Vikings player. And given the food source, there's the feudal age click for Jabari. So makes it up finally here. And with the market up, Kurgan could also begin, could sell 100 food here and then just click straight for the cast age with buildings in place. Where is he? Sold 100 food and poof, cast age. Kurgan is 5% cast age, Jabari is only 39% feudal, so that's going to be a pickle here. Since Jabari isn't even feudal, he can't really make any naval army here, and that's going to be a huge pickle once the Viking gets the cast age, because then longboats will be on the menu, and Jabari risks losing the only food source, the fish food income here. And with the TC on the mainland, you may actually need to delete your TC here and rebuild it on land to be able to get any food source back up and running. You could of course farm on land to get the food count going for Jabari here, but that would also be very exposed to any any forward from Vikings on land. Villager count's deceivingly similar though, but Kurgan is already 60% cast age, and Jabari is desperate for some water control right now. I like the call actually to go for multiple docks production of a water army now. You really need to contest Vikings here before they can get those longboats numbers up. 39, 39, and cast age right around the corner for Kurgan here. Kurgan is also only with 2 docks here, which could be the key point here for Jabari with the production out of 4 docks here. Will delay Jabari's cast age a little bit, but with just a little bit of delaying, Jabari could keep his fish alive for just as long as is needed to get to the cast age, and then to extend the economy on land. Here we go with the fire galleys. We have 3 docks for Kurgan now. Cast age is in, longboats are coming out with fletching. Let's see if the fire galleys can do okay. Oh, I actually do good against longboats if they are allowed to get close. But Jabari needs to chase here. That's doing exactly that. Looking for more docks here. Cast age hopefully right around the corner as well. The blacksmith is up. The second building is not. So Jabari will need that second building as well. And then he's in a good spot to go to the cast age. Now Spanish gets great cannon galleons. So if Spanish can get to cannon galleons here, all of these buildings near the shoreline would be potentially going down to that. Kurgan being patient here with longboats, but he almost loses 1 longboat here to 1 fire galley. He actually loses 1 longboat to a fire galley here. That shouldn't happen. You can hit and run. They're so fast anyway. So is Jabari doing surprisingly good here on water now with the very much slower start, all things considered. Villager counts pretty similar. It's going to change now that Jabari will take out lots of fish from Kurgan here. Meanwhile, Kurgan is going to demos and will try to contest the fire galley numbers. Military numbers playing a huge role in the contest for water from Jabari here. He's 1 age down, but has the superior numbers, 9-4. So it's actually not looking too bad for Jabari here with the later cast age. Has the villager lead for the first time in the game as well, and will be taking out even more fish off Kurgan here if he keeps chasing. Kurgan essentially off all the fish here now, and with the dock damaged in sufficiently here, the logboat will pop out unintentionally. Almost sniping a demo here as well, Jabari. %50 cast age for Jabari now. I guess Jabari will be losing water now, but with cast age kicking in, then Jabari has the means to expand on land again, and as both players are still only 1 TC, Kurgan has to invest into water, so he can't really invest wood into TCs on land here. He has a second one. He actually sold stone for gold to either kick up or to produce units here. So no second TC for Kurgan yet, so the villager numbers will be roughly similar, and what great fights Jabari is taking there, taking out Vikings longboats with feudal age fire galleys here. Repair will not allowed to do anything here. Looks like what could be a good demo hit there, but demo goes in the wrong direction. Now some hit and run for Kurgan here, and with the fire galley chasing. 18-14 KD for Jabari. Steady flow of naval military here, and with cast age in, hopefully dropping a TC soon, unless this is a castle drop. Let's see. It's gonna be a castle drop, and Kurgan doesn't have any. 2 villagers building a castle with a couple more to come. Kurgan, now is the time for a defensive tower. The problem being 0 stone. I don't believe this. Jabari is going to drop a castle on Kurgan's core eco here, and there's nothing Kurgan can do about it. It's out of range of the longboats, and Kurgan doesn't have any land military present at all. Okay, he bought stone for a defensive tower, but it's too late. This castle goes up. It's going up, man. Spanish builders build faster as well, so that's something. Now that the castle is up, Jabari could start using the food and gold income to make conquistadors as well, and you'd have a nice way to contest land. Going for more stone here, only 300 stone shy of another castle as well, and I think Jabari just missed Kurgan's second TC here. Goes for a little bit of scouting now, and yeah, that's going to be about it. Land army in progress for Kurgan now. Kurgan with 13 military has full control of water now, finally. And at some point this TC is going to be completely useless, aside from potential farms, but the farms would be easily reached by the longboats anyway, so I think all of this economy on the starting island for Jabari will go down to longboats eventually. But Jabari sees one farm now from the Turkish here, has enough stone for another castle. Let's see where that next castle goes. One conquistador is out as well. Jabari's lacking of scouting could be an issue here though, because now you've crippled all of Kurgan's home eco here. It's time to try and find out where he's expanded to. Maybe just get 1 or 2 scouts out. The fish eco will die for Jabari here as well. That's going to be devastating. We'll need to invest into farms ASAP here. Looks like the second castle will be going on Kurgan's woodline here or something. Can I just use the conquistadors to scout the rest of the map and see where Kurgan has relocated? I mean, yeah, it's fine to go here to try and see where we're off to as well. Another TC will potentially be delayed here, actually, or denied. So maybe it's not that bad after all, but Kurgan still has the whole north of the map to expand to here. We'll be losing villagers to conquistadors though until the range can go up and skirmishers can be made. Another castle goes up, the power of Spanish builders right here, and Bodkin is in, so it's going to contest this TC. Kurgan, desperate for stone of his own, needs defensive castles to protect his extended economy in the north now. And yeah, certainly I don't hate Jabari's spot here. Losing the water is a huge deal though, because you won't be able to produce villagers here. Steady flow of conquistadors, you know. Jabari is going to try for a transport to save the rest of the villagers on land, but with longboats on the field, I think that's going to be tough. Jabari is still with the villager lead, though, has more villagers overall, but that's going to change quickly if the longboats can pick off all of these guys. No ballistics for longboats, though, and Kurgan's economy has been crippled severely as well by the Spanish castle drop, so maybe Spanish isn't such a bad pick here after all. Nowhere to run for Kurgan here aside from maybe a new TC over here. So yeah, take some serious hits to the eco. As can be said for Jabari, who will desperately try and save villagers here through transports, but easier said than done here, of course. I still feel like Jabari should be scouting more of the north of the map here to see Kurgan's relocation. This is going to potentially save Kurgan here, the fact that he has his TC up here not contested by enemy units or castles, and you could still drop new TCs on the woodlands and golds here, have a steady flowing eco, and Kurgan is controlling water, so there's no way that Jabari is going to make use of the deep fish here for a long while. Might actually get this transport in though, so that's a bit of an oversight from Kurgan there not to acknowledge that Jabari is saving the villagers from his starting island. Conquistadors lying to longboats here, that's not a pretty sight. And Jabari apparently busy somewhere else. Decent map control with the castles though, but the eco still lacking. Some farm eco is in place on land, but if Kurgan can get some archers out or something after relocating to the north, it could still be a different story. Vikings have such a crazy eco with their instant handcart and wheelbarrow, so there's still a way back for Kurgan here, considering that water is under his control as well. Feel like Kurgan should invest into more efficient ships now with this kind of control on water. Jabari finally scouting the north here is going to find the exposed eco of Kurgan here. Could snipe all of these 4 farms with 1 conquistador if he wanted to. And Kurgan is going to invest into the eco and water again, going for archers on land, kill nets, and fishing ships for the water. Siege Workshop Monastery now for the Spanish player. Okay, I'm guessing the monastery is to defend against any Vikings knights to try and take out the siege that comes their way. Jabari not with gold eco to sustain both monks and siege here for now though, but 1 mangonel in the making. Should still have some conquistadors somewhere as well. And yeah, it's just generally being annoying here and forcing Kurgan to relocate again and again and again, as can happen on Nomad. So let's have a look at Kurgan's army numbers here on land. Ranged units for warship 19, so complete water domination for Kurgan, no question about it. All the longboats over here taking out enemy docks. But only just a few archers on land, and I think even skirmishers would be a better call here with the conquistadors on the field. 2 mangonels pushing down yet another TC now though. And let's see if Jabari is still mining stone. Not really. It's not going into the continued conquistadors play here for now. There's stone to be taken here though, so more castles absolutely an option for Jabari. Three mangonels down. This TC is as good as history, and Kurgan might be looking at some dead villagers as well, or at the very least a lot of idols here. Jabari likes his relics, so he's picking up those and making use of the monks in this this regard. Here comes the barracks as well. Could be that Jabari wants to go into a stable and either just for the upgrades for conquistadors or to go into stables or knights to have even more map presence. And the mangonels additions is always a good one against enemy ranged units anyway, so definitely not a waste here for Jabari to go for a siege push. I don't quite understand the monks, but aside from that, it's a good push. And now it's just about scouting to find Kurgan's relocation yet again. Kurgan has 12 more villagers. That should be fishing ships mainly, but also would suggest a more healthy food eco for Kurgan. However, struggling with the wood, which means less archers and such on land. And another TC goes down. Kurgan is yet again with only 1 TC. Here come the crossbows though, and yeah, you don't want to challenge for mangonels with 10 crossbows. So good thing Kurgan pulled back there. Jabari knows there's a TC up here as well. The crossbows can't fend off this in any way, so if another TC goes down, I don't see any real easy way back for Kurgan. A great eco, almost in terms of able to click Imperial here, but these houses are neglecting Kurgan's own expansion. Scores very similar. Jabari is slightly ahead here, and Jabari with less military though. Let's see what the crossbows can do here. Jabari. Alright, decent hit. That's one. Some repair micro would be useful here. Here come the villagers. Good awareness. Defensive siege workshop from Kerrigan. Uh, Not sure if that was up, honestly. And villager losses are a fact for Kurgan here. Now, evening it out, Jabari with 45, Kurgan with 46. Pretty even score, and Kurgan needs to flee yet again. Does have the stone and wood for another TC though, but repairs and a new TC, they don't quite compute here. Lots of food and gold, that's perfect for going knights or whatnot here, but Kurgan is in the pickle here now with most of the military water. Still controlling water, doesn't really need to invest anything into food eco on land. But losing villagers rapidly here still is 45 to 45. Kurgan completely idle, just completing the another new TC here. But with only crossbows as the army of choice here for the time being, there's not much you can do against 4 mangonels. The siege workshop was a good call by Kurgan, but it goes down before you can even produce from it. And wood eco of Kurgan is just disaster here. Jabari should now be using the mobility of the conquistadors here to take out even more villagers, deny any expansion here, and he finishes the game off if he takes out yet another TC here, I think. Just keep taking Kurgan off wood. You can stop him from dropping new TCs and expanding. And look at all the green on the map now. Sure, water control is in Kurgan's arms here, but he's losing ground on the map. And Jabari now with the villager lead again. Now we have 5 Mangonels pushing and some knights, and Kurgan relocating all the time here. Is forced to call the GG, and it's going to be a 3-2 for Jabari in the end there. Great set though for this best of 5 and from final, which showed many different Nomad maps and civs. I honestly can't believe that Jabari pulled this off with the starting TC here. And let's look at the uptimes here, because Kurgan was miles ahead to the castle age, and feud age for that matter. But Jabari fought extremely well once he reached feud age. Did go for 4 docks as opposed to Kurgan's 2. Has the fire galleys, something that Vikings don't. So Jabari just spammed fire galleys out of 4 docks on water and bought himself enough time for his fishing ships to stay alive long enough for Jabari to get to the castle age and expand on the mainland. 83, 51 KD, the castle drops from the Spanish player here played a role for the map control as well. And eco stronger for the Vikings, obviously, but Kerrigan was floating 1000 food and gold in the end, not being able to use it for anything. Also didn't mine a lot of stone, so defensive castles were not much for good. Alright, Nick. Yeah, see you around. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And the sub never as well. Glad to have you around. Villager high for Kurgan, a little bit of red gold for Jabari, and army numbers. This is mainly longboats for Kurgan, so he had the boat control but failed to take the position on land. So GG well played to Jabari, who takes the 3-2 here. And now that's going to be it for the stream for this time around. But just a reminder, I'm doing community games later today, so open for anyone. And hope to see some people around there. But for now, I'll just pass you along to someone else, and community games will happen after the World Cup is concluded, whenever that might be. So again, GG well played to the Nomad players. Let's see you around maybe before community games later, and I'll pass you along to Roxy this time, I think. See you next time.